May you live every day of your life. Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. It is useless to attempt to reason a man out of a thing he was never reasoned into. We have just enough religion to make us hate, but not enough to make us love one another. Books, the children of the brain. Laws are like cobwebs, which may catch small flies, but let wasps and hornets break through. I never wonder to see men wicked, but I often wonder to see them not ashamed. He was a bold man, that first ate an oyster. Undoubtedly, philosophers are in the right when they tell us that nothing is great or little otherwise than by comparison. Fine words. I wonder where you stole them. You should never be ashamed to admit you have been wrong. It only proves you are wiser today than yesterday. Every dog must have his day. No wise man ever wished to be younger. Proper words, in proper places, make the true definition of style. The tiny Lilliputians surmise that Gulliver's watch may be his god, because it is that which, he admits, he seldom does anything without consulting. Happiness is the perpetual possession of being well deceived. For in reason, all government without the consent of the governed is the very definition of slavery. There are few, very few, that will own themselves in a mistake. We of this age have discovered a shorter and more prudent method to become scholars and wits, without the fatigue of reading or of thinking. If a man makes me keep my distance, the comfort is, he keeps his at the same time. The latter part of a wise person's life is occupied with curing the follies, prejudices and false opinions they contracted earlier. Some men, under the notion of weeding out prejudice, eradicate virtue, honesty and religion. The best doctors in the world are Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, and Dr. Merriman. Ever eating, never cloying, all devouring, all destroying, never finding full repast, till I eat the world at last. A wife should be always a reasonable and agreeable companion, because she cannot always be young. The stoical scheme of supplying our wants by lopping off our desires, is like cutting off our feet, when we want shoes. Coffee makes us severe, and grave and philosophical. Words are the clothing of our thoughts. Punning is a talent, which no man affects to despise, but he that is without it. Satire is a sort of glass, wherein beholders do generally discover everybody's face, but their own. I'm as old as my tongue, and a little older than my teeth. I hid myself between two leaves of sorrel, and there discharged the necessities of nature. As love without esteem is capricious and volatile, esteem without love is languid and cold. May you live all the days of your life. You cannot reason a person out of a position he did not reason himself into in the first place. As blushing will sometimes make a whore pass for a virtuous woman, so modesty may make a fool seem a man of sense. Poor nations are hungry, and rich nations are proud, and pride and hunger will ever be at variance. I heartily hate and detest that animal called man, although I heartily love John, Peter, Thomas, and so forth. Opium is not so stupefying, to many persons, as an afternoon sermon. Of so little weight are the greatest services to princes, when put into the balance with a refusal to gratify their passions. Truth shines the brighter clad in verse. It is the folly of too many to mistake the echo of a London coffee-house for the voice of the kingdom. I winked at my own littleness, as people do at their own faults. As learned commentators view, in Homer more than Homer knew. There's none so blind as they that won't see. It is a miserable thing to live in suspense, it is the life of the spider. Reasoning will never make a man correct an ill opinion, which by reasoning he never acquired. Satire is a sort of glass, wherein beholders do generally discover everybody's face, but their own. As love without esteem is capricious and volatile, esteem without love is languid and cold. Flattery is the worst and fastest way of showing our esteem. When the great genius appears in the world, you may know him by this sign, that the dunces are all in confederacy against him. When I am reading a book, whether wise or silly, it seems to me to be alive and talking to me. If a lie be believed, only for an hour, it hath done its work. I could not sufficiently wonder at the intrepidity of these diminutive mortals, who books, like men their authors, have no more than one way of coming into the world, but there are 10,000 to go out of it and return no more. Leagues, till we were able to work no longer, being already spent with labor, while we were in the ship. We have enough religion to make us hate, but not enough to make us love one another.